Love yourself before you love another.
You're right too.
Can we go? Yeah.
That's the attitude.
So what kind of questions are we going to ask?
This is where professionalism comes into play,
Okay,
Jonathan.
yes, no problem.
You should have done your homework.
I was waiting for this big list.
You're
As
asking an
all is
awful lot
advised.
out of us for professionalism now, the two of us.
You say that again?
Professionalism.
Are we good, Dan?
I'm trying to get the
Are
word
you
out.
comfortable there in your chair now, Chair? The old person's chair.
Listen now. It's a bad start now. Call me an old person.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
No, John said you were the
These
oldest.
podcasts are starting off in the exact
You're
right
the
way.
oldest
Ladies
in
and
the
gentlemen,
group.
we would like to
Let's
welcome
go.
you to the No Spudz podcast, baby. This is episode we forget, and we are joined in
Episode
studio
5.
by two incredible people from the Body Tree Company. How are you doing, ladies?
Very well.
Very good.
See,
Thank you very much.
now we're starting off to a better foot.
Oh yeah, I'm okay with you now.
No pun intended, being feet and all that, like, which we're popping off there. But,
We were only talking about feet a while ago.
don't talk about Johnny already. Like, we're only, what are we, 30
Yeah, see, I'm
seconds in?
so quiet
You
on
said
this
Jonathan
podcast,
love
aren't
her
I?
feet.
He said he's a foot fetish. I said he
No,
needs
no,
to
no,
work
no,
on
no,
our
no,
clinic.
no, no, no. No,
I
he's...
thought I heard that too, Claire. Actually,
I
yeah,
heard the
foot
same.
fetish, yeah.
I
His
did.
love of feet.
Please, lads,
yeah.
don't believe everything you hear.
And we get
I am
loads of
delighted.
crotches.
Where have you been the last 19 episodes? Carry on, ladies. We'll give you your time.
I'm only just
Stage
sharing
five.
what he told us.
That's grand, that's grand.
You
Go on,
know?
Johnny. Go
So
on.
what
You're
is it
normally
about
full of
feet?
chat, bro.
What
I
is
just
it
don't
about
like feet.
that
I even
doesn't
hate
tire
my
you?
own feet.
You do
Feet are
not.
I
amazing.
hate my
Feet
feet.
are amazing.
You told us you loved them.
I do not love feet.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in to the No Spudz podcast. And of course, I am Willzee, joined here with my co-host Johnny. And unfortunately, we have one co-host down this week. He is otherwise engaged in the lovely land of the Netherlands, apparently. So God bless him, and we'll see you soon, nephew. Happy birthday.
God bless bro.
So, ladies, how are we?
Very well.
Fantastic.
Busy day.
Could you tell the listeners who you are? What your names are?
Will I let you take that, Tracy?
I'm Tracy O'Donoghue from the Body Tree Community Clinics and College. So I would, I suppose, be, if you want to call it, the dog's body, the manager, the person who answers the phone, who...
The boss.
The
Well,
big boss.
that's a strong word. That's a very strong word.
But John, it's a very
so
appropriate word.
Well, I'll rephrase that. So what about...
Claire, do we need to have a conversation?
We're just afraid to use that word around ourselves.
Okay,
so
is
it's
it
nice
like
to
that,
hear
is it?
someone else
Oh.
use it.
Well, we opening up at all in this episode,
Serious
boy,
kind of
huh?
worms out in there now.
Big boss is not usually what I'm referred to.
Would you
because
like me
being
to say so?
only 4'11".
The person in charge.
Yeah, you could say that. The person who stands for all the crap, yeah. That would be me, yeah.
The follow person.
So, yeah, and so is, as regards to the community clinics, I'm a therapist as well. So I do everything from sports massage, auricular acupuncture, reflexology, the core rehab. I teach in the college and all that. So, yeah, the thing
Beautiful.
goes in all of the pies.
And yourself?
So I'm also a therapist.
Yeah. What's her
Tracy
name?
was my tutor. So I'm Claire.
Yeah, Claire, lovely to meet you.
Nice
So
to
this
meet
is
you, Claire.
Tracy's fault that I'm now involved in all of this.
All right.
You know, so yeah, I put her up there.
You're
as
already
very
putting the
You
blame on her.
secretly
Yeah.
love it though, don't you? You
I
secretly
love it.
it.
But I love it because Tracy taught me and made me love it.
Yeah.
So I'm a deep tissue massage therapist. I do dry needling, Indian head massage. I'm training at the moment to do auricular acupuncture, which I'm actually loving.
What is that?
Sticking needles in people.
Particularly, it's acupuncture of the ear. So it's called the microsystem. So you would have body acupuncturists who would... So this is very different from dry needling. So you've been in the clinic, John, where you've
I
had
have,
needles
yeah.
stuck in you for...
Wish
I no, never had the needles in me now.
Oh yeah,
No,
you don't
I
like
don't.
needles.
No, I don't.
Oh yeah,
No, no,
I
no.
remember now. You don't like
Yeah.
needles. So
Poor
and dry
misfortune.
needling is for like musculoskeletal stuff. So like sports injuries, for example, you'd use the needles, and then you'd have acupuncture that works on meridian lines and chi lines. So if anyone who has like, you know, anything from diabetes to headaches to underlying conditions, so you'd have acupuncture of the body. Whereas what auricular acupuncture is acupuncture of the ear. So you can lay a person on the ear. So like the lobe is the head, and then you can wrap the person. So every point of the ear corresponds to a point on the body. So through that system, then you can put in the needles to work on the shoulder as well as working on a liver or the spleen or the pancreas, whatever it is, all through the ear. So
Could
it
you
takes
paralyse someone through the ear?
Could you paralyze somebody through the ear? You can put them to sleep.
Through their ear, yeah?
Yeah, I don't
This
know if you
we
can
haven't
actually-
done
You can show us a demonstration after that. Johnny is a great person to do demonstrations on, as you know. I'll do the needling.
Let's get a little chat out of him first.
Yeah.
What,
You'll
can I
have to
just
sign a
ask you a
consent form,
question?
though, John.
Yeah, the consent form's in my pocket. Yeah. So, I suppose it's a social enterprise. The Body Tree is, isn't it?
So we're not for profit. So what that means is that the Body Tree isn't owned by any one person. So it's owned by the community, it is for the community, and it is run by a community of therapists. So it means that when we, say for example, if somebody comes into the clinic, it's a reduced cost, as you know. So if you come to the Learning Hub for treatment, you get your 2 disciplines in your 1 treatment for €30. So you can get a mixture of, like, say, like the acupuncture. We're talking about acupuncture and massage, or massage and reflexology, or Reiki and massage, or we mix and match to whatever the client needs. So, and you pay your €30 for that. So all of the therapists are semi-volunteers. So the therapists are giving up their professional time as well to support the enterprise, because we're only like the 3rd year, so we still haven't got funding. So we're completely self-funded. So eventually we'll get funding that the therapists will get paid, their dues, what they're putting in. But also, the fact that we're not owned by one person means that the Body Tree can't be sold. So the Body Tree can only grow. So it
Which
can
is very
only
good, isn't it?
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. So it can only grow into other communities, and excuse the pun about branches, and that's the idea. We want to grow branches into all communities in Limerick. So while we're in the urban co-op in the East Business Park, which is where we started, we've now opened up in the Learning Hub. We're here like 7 months, which is amazing. And now we only spoke to somebody else earlier about a 3rd branch that they want us in. It's a bit hush hush, but
Exclusives.
Exclusive.
Oh,
We love
I
exclusives
understand.
here.
Go on.
So we were looking at, hopefully by the end of the year, be a 3rd one, and also we have the college. So we have students who would come in and pay privately to train to be a therapist. So when they come in and pay their fees, once we take out the rent, their books, our insurance out of it, any money that's left over then goes into a fund. So we can run programs where people can attend for free, but we then have the facility and the monies to be able to pay for, like, the rent or the therapist for that.
Which is brilliant.
So so it means if you're coming in privately paying for your treatment or for a course, part of your money, part of your payment is going to help somebody else who needs either a treatment or who needs training.
Yeah.
It's like a
and
little
they're
nest egg.
Exactly.
For the next
But
person.
you're
the next
paying it
person who
forward.
doesn't have it, we'll say.
So you're paying it forward for somebody else. And now this year, for the first time, we have 2 students that are completely funded in their program.
Yeah.
So
brilliant,
that's
yeah.
life changing. So by
That's
the end of
brilliant,
by this time next year, they can open their own clinic.
And just to rewind back a small bit, so social enterprise, for
Yep.
those who don't know, like, if you have a good idea, how do you go from a good idea to a social enterprise to organisational structures, different branches, and so on and so forth?
There's a
Like,
question.
That's a brilliant question today from the
I'm
Willzee.
delighted to let Tracy take that one again.
Thanks, Claire. Thanks, Claire. I am going to pass something over to you in a minute. Well, it starts with an idea.
Yeah.
And that, I suppose, that's my fault. As Claire says, it's my fault. It was my idea. So I just felt it was... I felt that people needed to be able to get treatment. So I'm a therapist, and I've done one-to-ones for years, where people come in...
If you don't mind me interjecting, so therapists being, like, so you have a therapist degree, but, like, there's a different load of variations to your treatments that you're after calling out.
Massive.
And so do you need to be qualified in each capacity of that, and then an overall therapist, and then to be able to school others?
So I've...
So there needs all of that
yes.
and the idea before you go down the social enterprise road.
Well, you
as
see,
such.
not really, because you could be the person who's there at the idea, but you might not be the person who's actively working in the social enterprise.
Yeah.
So, for example, like, I'm a therapist, so I can actively work in the clinics and the college, but I could just as easily be somebody who has a very good idea, but then I take on the people who can do those. So it starts with an idea.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to look at where the heart and soul of the idea is coming from. And for me, it was... everybody is entitled to treatment. I don't care from what walk of life you are, how much money you have in your pocket, everybody is entitled to treatment. And if you're in pain and you can't play with your kids or you can't work because you're in pain, you should be entitled to be able to get treatment.
Yeah, flexible.
And
Yeah,
now that's what's not happening now. What's happening is if you have enough money, you can go to your therapist every week or twice a week.
Or private clinics.
Yeah. But if you don't have that, and that's where I was a few years ago, because I got very sick, and it was a case of, it took me a long time to get back on track. And then I kind of felt that this is not fair. This is something everybody should be able to avail of. So that's really where the idea kind of came from. And then I went to India in a moment of madness, which is another story. And
India.
We'll say that for
That's another
the
podcast.
adults podcast version of this, yeah? It sounds suggestive.
Jesus,
He's been thrown up to heaven here on this podcast.
We might be very disappointed by the story.
I'm kind of now going, how can I build this up to make this something?
I went to India. This is the cliffhanger.
No, it was actually, I booked a ticket in there. I was very sick for a few years. I had paralysis, and so my face didn't work and my hand didn't work, and I couldn't see properly and I couldn't talk properly, and there was all sorts of stuff going on. So in a moment of one day, I've been just very, very depressed, and I just sat in front of the laptop and went, fuck this. I can't stay like this. I have to get out of this rut. So I went down and booked a ticket to India. That's what I did. A very, very cheap ticket to India. Because India is so cheap, I thought, where can I go to really kind of find yourself, if you want to put it that way? Go someplace that's very cheap to live and it's cheap to get there. So that's what I did. But in India, you see community clinics. Now, they're not as posh as our community clinics, but they're community clinics on the street where people are lying on the street getting massage, or they don't do a huge amount of acupuncture there, but they're getting some form of treatment. And this is for people who live on the street, and the clinics are actively on the street. So I thought, if that can work there, why can't we have a version of that here?
India's mortality rate is a lot higher than ours
massive,
as well.
Massive. And the poverty rate is
massive as well.
like, you can't go to India and not come back a different person and changed. If you went to India and you've come back the same person, you didn't see India. It meant you were in your nice plush AC coach being driven around.
Yeah.
I backpacked. I had a pack on my back, and I went on the trains. I have some mad photographs of me sitting on these prison trains surrounded by convicts and chains and all sorts of mad things, thinking like, oh, I'm doing this because I'm saving myself 5 rupees, which is about 2p, you know. But anyway, that's where it evolved. So that's kind of where the ethos of where the body tree came from. And I've been teaching for 14 years. I've been therapist for 24 years. And every year I do a course. So when you say how many courses you have, every year
Endless.
I do something.
Yeah.
So
Well, great,
and I'm
though,
back
isn't
in college. I started back in UL again this year, doing something else. So I came back with this great idea. So then I found people who went, oh, that's cool. I'd like to be part of that. And then Claire came on board.
Yeah.
So what was your experience, Claire?
With I basically looked online, and again, it's Tracy's name popped up, and I love the idea of a community clinic. And I think it's the words that Tracy's often used herself. It's just filling that gap in the health system for those who can and those who can't.
Beautiful.
So for me, the clinic has made me more passionate about what I'm doing, and that has encouraged me to learn more therapies, because I want to be able to do this. I would love to see us in every community.
Do you
and
feel
not
and I'm not saying it because big boss is you apparently follow
Big little boss.
Big little boss.
Big little boss,
Yeah.
But quality of life, having learned all of these things between you both, and of course going venturing down this, like, I suppose your quality of life has increased mentally and stuff, because
Mentally, 100%.
you're seeing people's lives change, so there has to be.
Big, and I've said this to Tracy, I get more out of the clinic than what I give the clinic.
Yeah,
the satisfaction it gives me working with people who would not normally be able to afford, like most of us can't afford 60, 70, 80 quid every week.
Yeah.
And knowing I'm helping someone by just a little massage or something.
It's kind of goes back to that barber
and I
hairdresser
love
kind of thing, isn't it? It's just the general chats that you have,
Yeah.
but
the
it's
openness that you exchange between each
and
other.
you know they're really appreciated, and I just really, I get a high. It's like you said about running.
Yeah.
Helping someone.
Was she talking about running again?
He was, but I don't blame him. We can't help
God bless
him.
anyone that listens to these episodes will hear every segment has something about Johnny and his lovely feet, you know. Or
I told us the feet.
he's running or
Oh,
whatever.
back to the feet.
I always get put on the spot.
And so the work community and the intention behind the college and the community college aspect, like including funding, please God, and I wish you the best with it.
It will come.
Will it always remain as a community sector?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
will it always remain down for
It
the...
always.
Yeah.
So this is a question we have been asked before as to why didn't we keep the college as a private college? Why didn't we run this as a private business? then you've lost the point. And if people need to ask that question, they don't understand why we do. It's to make, it's not just people coming in and getting treatment, but it's also educating people about how treatment can affect them positively. Like, it's amazing when people come into the clinic and they'll say, I've never had a massage, or what is reflexology, or what's Reiki, you know. And
shout out Stevie McGregor. That man brought me in half, but like he fixed me as well at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, he's a strong dude, that guy.
You got that.
The elbows.
Yeah. But
So it allows people to come in and go, what's that? Can I try it? And they're not going to have to pay 70 or 80 euros on something that maybe is not for them. And they get a chance to experience something new. So that's the education part of it. But you mentioned something there about the social part of it, which when we started doing this never really kind of stuck with us first. But we've been open about 3 months, and it was over in the other clinic. And I remember this older guy came in one Friday morning, and I'm saying he was in his mid-70s. And it was just kind of COVID. I think everyone still had masks, or the masks were just gone out or something. And he came in and he said, and he came over and he kind of whispered to me, he says, I kind of, could someone just rub my legs? And I was like, do you have a problem with your legs? He was like, no. And I was like, so why do you want your legs rubbed? And he said, nobody has touched me, he said, in 2 years. And I'm not being creepy, and I'm not being, like a weird person. He said, but I don't get hugs anymore. Nobody hugs me, or nobody touches me. He said,
That's very sad, isn't it?
and my heart freaking broken too. And I thought, this is not right. So he got his massage. He also got a couple of hugs. He got his massage. But the following week when he came in, I thought, hang on, there's something to this, because there was another guy came in around the same time. Now, both these fellows lived on their own. Their wives had died. And so there was a huge loneliness part of it, and someone to talk to. So what we did was we put these 2 guys lying together and introduced them. So then they started talking. And then they'd go outside for a cup of coffee. So this became their regular thing. Now, one of them's hospital at the moment. But this became this regular thing for months, that they'd come in and, so-and-so here, he's there, and we've kept the couch beside him for you. So then it became this social outlet that 2 guys who were living on their own came in and had a massage, so that they had feeling a touch, because they'll always get a hug from a therapist. Therapists will get huggers.
The touch thing, I think, goes back to like babies and all that.
It really does. It's so important.
The mother.
So important.
Being mothered.
But what's the first thing when a child falls over is you pick him up and you rub him.
Yeah.
You'll be grand, or, you know, it might be the slap in the back of the head, but there's something, you know.
There's so much to it.
The empathy, like.
I just want to say, if Johnny ever looks for hugs, you don't need them. So don't be going out of your way to give that man anything. But
no, he might need hugs sometimes.
Therapists love hugs. So if you're not a hugger, you keep away from therapists, because we're hugging.
No, John.
No hugs, please, no hugs.
We're hands on all the time.
No hugs. Only elbows.
Yes.
So ladies, so we've talked about the social enterprise, and there is also a study you've mentioned. Can I talk about it on this? If not, anyway, we can wipe it out of it. And the study about the UL and about
yes, go for it, John. Go for it, John.
Yeah. Okay. So ladies, Dom, that last little part we will delete, just that little sentence so we can find it. So ladies, we've went and spoke about social enterprise. We've talked about Johnny's feet, unfortunately, and we've talked about very serious things.
We will get to see his feet
My
on
feet
stage,
are
Claire.
very serious.
Oh, we will. The next time you come in, is straight to your face. Straight
Get
to
the
your
cat out of the
face.
bag now.
I have to say as well, anyone listening to this, the Body Tree, if you haven't been, you have to go there.
Thank you.
But the study, sorry, I always get sidetracked with this, Johnny.
The thought of Johnny's feet.
Yeah, it's horrible. Like, it's around, and Halloween's around the corner as well, so it's not too bad of a team. So the study that you're preparing with the University of Limerick and stuff like that, could you tell us a small little bit about that and the aims of your...
Okay, so it's still in its absolute infancy, so we're still building it and putting it together. So the idea is we want... So there is a protocol that we use in the clinics called the NADA protocol. So the NADA protocol was particularly designed, and it's the use of needles in the ear, but it was particularly designed for people in recovery, whether it is mental recovery, whether it is substance abuse or physical abuse. It's just for anyone that's in recovery that is struggling. So we use the NADA protocol, and it rebalances the body, and it helps with mental awareness, and it calms the body, calms the physical body as well as the emotional sense of just giving you an overall sense of calm. So I'd studied this last year in London, and we use it in the clinics. And then between the chat, and we're like, wouldn't this be amazing to have this in all of the centres, the recovery centres in Limerick, that this is a go-to treatment, because it actually is a recognised treatment all over the world. Now, unfortunately, in Ireland, there's only one recovery centre using it, a small place in Cork. So you can't even get trained in Ireland in it. You have to leave Ireland to get the training in it. So, and I'm going back again. I have 2 more weekends to go back into, because I'm doing the training to train people to be practitioners of the NADA protocol. So we wanted this to be rolled out in all of the centres. So there is red tape, as you know, with everything in life. So to get it recognised, we approached UL and said, look, this is what we want. We want this study recognised. So if UL can put a stamp to it, then the HSE have to listen. This is a recognised study.
Document.
Exactly, yeah. So what we're proposing is we're going to take a group of participants, we're going to use the NADA protocol across a diverse range, and then there is the academics, let's say, that will step in from UL and create a study piece from that, a research and a study piece from it, that we can show how effectively this works. That then people have to sit up and take notice. People can't ignore when you have facts that are scientific. And this is one of the things with being a therapist of, I don't like to use the word alternative, I prefer complementary, because we complement what's already there. Is that we're often dismissed as like, I should use the bunch of hippies over there in the corner, and they're singing and doing the do's and the ahs. And that's a nice, I appreciate that kind of way that we're looked at, but we want something factual. We want something science-based to be able to say, here's the science, here's the study. Now we're put your money where your mouth is. HSE, you need to back this. So we want funding from them. Now this is down the road. This is not something that's going to happen between now and Christmas. I'm looking at
years.
Exactly, to get it done.
Yeah.
But eventually, what I see, you'd asked us earlier, what is like a plan going forward, like even a 5-year plan is. For me, there's about 3 things that I want to see that we're going to change in Limerick, and one of them is to have the NADA protocol in all of the recovery centres in Limerick. And not only that, but we also then have the practitioners that can actually do it. So people could train, like yourself, Will. You might decide, you say, come to me and say, I would like to train to be to be able to do the NADA protocol, to be able to work in the recovery centres.
I wasn't suggesting that I would do it, but what I was going to ask is, like, did you have much experience yourself, Claire, before you got into it, and how long did it take you to learn it, and then the NADA protocall? Now does that benefit,
So I've never done I've never done acupuncture, and I didn't think I would be able to, but then I did the dry needling, so then I was okay with the needles. So Tracy then been showing me, so I'm trying it on myself mainly at home, or my dad, practicing with my needles, putting it in, getting feedback, and I absolutely love it now. So I absolutely love it, and I'm mad to
develop.
So Claire has a false ear, a silicone ear. So if you see her walking around the clinic with the silicone ear, and it's so we can practice points.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
Oh, I thought she actually had one.
Yes, she puts herself to sleep every week and boom, 2 needles.
I was looking at her ears and I said,
Great, 8 hours.
If you pull them, I go, ah! They're in.
I was looking and said, which one is it?
What is it?
Oh, that's hilarious.
So that's what I'm
My
practicing
money's on the right one, John. My money's on the right one.
I was thinking it was the left one.
We go back to your feet now. Forget the ears. Go back to the feet. So I found it now fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Because I'm reading a book on it, and this is something I think is going to be brilliant.
The needle, is it?
Yeah, the needle.
The NADA protocol.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is something that will benefit, especially recovery. Fantastic.
I know.
And I'm mad to get into it.
In the lines of recovery, there is a lot of things I've seen in other countries to be able to adapt, especially what's that stuff that when you overdose on heroin and crack.
Naxalon?
Naxalon, is it? Yeah. That they give out Naxalon injections, and they actually treat people, and they tell guards and everything they do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there is a delay somehow in the health service with beautiful things that you're doing, and like even them little needles to save people's lives.
But even if going back to that, this is all complementary. This is added to your program.
Yeah.
This is all good.
Yeah.
This will
we're
not
not saying that
stop doing
that over there
else.
isn't good, and that isn't.
This is
we're
adding.
saying that it needs a service and a group of services coming together. So there's no one thing is going to help someone through life issues. You need people who are offering a group of services, because people are very different. We're, even as therapists, we're treating people. 2 people have shoulder pain, but you treat them separately, because they're not identical injuries. They're not going to present the same way, so you can't treat them the same way. So it should be the same with somebody in recovery, that not like
It's not a one glove
group
fits
chat
all kind of
sessions
thing,
doesn't
yeah.
fit for everybody. You know, certain types of replacement dogs doesn't fit for everybody. So the NADA protocol, I feel, is something that could be part of a service that can be offered. Now, in London at the moment, the college that I trained in, the lecturers, they work in the prisons in London. So they're going into the prisons to use the NADA protocol to help with inmates who want to change their aggressive behaviour and change how they respond to life situations. So they're in and out of the prisons every week doing the NADA protocol, and they've been doing it for years.
And
This is all funded.
in
as well by
connection to
NHS.
that, have you found that people, and this might be out there now, but have you found that people may be on medication for a certain thing? Now, I know obviously there might be on inflammatories for different muscles and things like that, but have you found within your own studies or your own lives that maybe someone is taking a heart thinner or a blood thinner or something, or they have cardiovascular or something, and then all of a sudden they come in and that all reduces, blood pressure reduces and things like that, and it's done
Massive.
through
Massive.
because I
Huge effect.
study
Yeah.
a lot of Wim Hof, and I do.
Yeah.
Gary Breckner is another fella now that's after popping up, and he's like all about internal breathing and
Oh,
connecting
you need to look up
energies
James Nestor. James Nestor, The Breath.
Yeah.
His
Through the
book
nose.
is phenomenal.
So you
Absolute
believe
phenomenal.
you strongly stand by
100%.
more life.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we've one client who came into us with, she's got COPD. She's a heavy smoker, and she had come in for, I think she came in just for treatment of her lower back. She had lower back pain or something. So in this conversation, all of this came up, and I said, look, can we try marrow point cupping? So it's cupping on the marrow points of the lungs. So you've had the cupping done.
Yeah, I have,
Yeah.
So she went back to her GP, had her O2 max tested to see what level she was at. And I said, right, change nothing for the next few weeks, like absolutely nothing. And we'll just introduce this protocol with the cups. So she'd come in every Friday, and we would put 24 cups on her lungs. And within 8 weeks, her GP had said, your O2 max has changed by 50%.
Oh, jeez.
Keep doing what you're doing.
That's
Her
amazing,
colour
isn't it?
had
50%.
changed. Yeah, no,
Wow.
she's still smoking like a trooper, but
But it has
worked.
It
It
really
had
adds
worked.
to anyone's, whatever they might need. It's not always just about medicine. It's not always about just taking a tablet. There's other things that add to all that help
What
recovery.
I find, even with the through mental health services or even in your own general practitioner, that the only thing is to fire medication and everything. It's not to give
That's
you
the
anything
problem
or to tell you,
sometimes, yeah.
the promotion of
know.
exercise even alone now
You
is
know.
kind of gone unless you're obese. They don't talk about exercise. But other than that, like, you know,
But sometimes you see a lot of
See,
things
talk
with
about your
people.
feet
They look for instant, so that's where medication. People are tendency towards medication
Yeah.
because they're looking for that instant.
yeah.
But what we can do, it might be over a course, but it's far more effective.
And it's long term. We're looking for
This
longevity
is-
with this.
That's the other side of
Yeah,
it.
this is
Exactly.
long
So, like,
term.
and throughout each session, like, is there? Probably going to hate me now after this, but is there a concise thing where it's like laid out? So if I wanted to go in and I had maybe that lung problem, so
Yeah.
like, do you know that it's 24 sessions and then that could be a big change, or do you know yourself that do you keep coming and eventually something will change, or do you know for yourself that there is, like, if I tell you to come for 6 things, you'll definitely see a change? Do you understand where I'm coming
So
from? Is there
we have a
evidence
rule
back
of
behind
thumb.
it?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we have a rule of thumb and in the college this is drummed into the students is that. So somebody comes in like this lady with COPD, and I would say to her, right, we're going to take session by session.
Yeah.
So if over 3 sessions that client has not improved even by 1%, then you change your tack. You cannot keep bringing the person in and taking money off them and giving them the same treatment and expecting a different outcome. So it's a sign of madness.
Yeah.
So you have to change that. And
Yeah.
this is where people come in and say, so I'm going to sign up for 6 weeks. And I'm like, no.
Yeah,
We're
that's
gonna
the thing,
take this.
because like if you,
And
if I
everyone
went
is
in
different.
with an inflamed shoulder now, just for example's sake, I wanted to know, is it a subscription kind of a thing? If I keep coming, doesn't matter, and I have to play devil's advocate as
Yeah,
lovely
yeah,
as
absolutely.
No, we would
Go
never
for
do
it.
that
Yeah.
to anybody.
It's like, do I keep coming and then maybe 6 weeks down the line nothing's happening, or
No.
you know, that
No.
kind of a way?
No,
or-
we will know
never
by
work that way.
treatment. By treatment 3, so on your assessment at the beginning of your third
Yeah.
treatment, we would say to you, okay, so how is your shoulder compared to day 1? And if you say there's absolutely no change or it's actually worse, you're not going to get the same treatment because you can't. That is, what's the point of
not
that? That's
effective.
madness.
So we
that
change
doesn't-
it up.
So we
Yeah.
change it. Or the other side of it is you might say to the client, so have you been doing your homework? Have you been doing what I asked you to do? Well, I kind of been a bit lazy and I didn't really do it. So there may be something that they're doing in the background that was counteracting what we're doing. So that needs a conversation. And then the treatment changes because it's like, I'm not going to give you a massage today because we actually need to have a conversation here.
Yes.
What's the block? and why are you not doing it? And maybe that's something that they're not understanding what we're saying. They're having difficulty doing it. They're just born lazy.
Do you believe that professionals should be multifaceted in the lines of like their,
Hugely.
you know, different stuff? Because if I present with a shoulder pain and you only do acupuncture, just for example's sake, or something along them lines, I know you say you can fix everything through the year, but it's, I don't know, give me two different like I come in with a bad toe and you can only do my shoulder, for example's sake. Like I feel that there is limitations to services, and I think people sometimes maybe take advantage of it, like, you know.
Hugely.
And when you don't know you're going into these places, like if I don't know I'm going into someone that only specialises in the shoulder, so like then I'm misinformed and I don't know what to ask you. And so I find that maybe if you're fully faceted in all kind of modes of the thing, then it becomes easier to be like, you know, I have a bad shoulder or bad feet or whatever, and then you're like, okay, well, maybe a bit of this and a bit of that might work. When
we get a client into the clinic, we do a full assessment first anyway. Yeah. We focus to get them to tell us what's going on. We'll do an assessment and say, well, this is the program we're going to work with you. This is what we're going to do to help this. Or this is what's going on. And this is what we need to do. And that's how we start. And then we keep a check on the progress as we go along. And if something's not working, it's changed. Okay, let's try it another way.
Yes.
Or what have you been doing, or what's changed in your life?
Well, the WHO brought out a research piece in, because the starting off of this, it was to figure out what direction the community clinics, while the community clinics was an idea, it needed focus and direction, because it's what creates our mission statement. So the WHO in 2016 came out and said the multidisciplined approach to pain, now we're talking about holistic pain, mind, body, spirit, is by far more effective than a single discipline treatment.
Yes.
So that's where our multidisciplined I suppose, starting point came from, and we have never budged from that. But it's interesting you've mentioned there about someone coming in with a sore shoulder, and you're kind of going, okay, so that's a massage, sore shoulder, that's a massage, sore shoulder, that's a massage. We had a client came in, a guy came in with a problem with his foot. And we treated his foot twice, and it wasn't John. And it wasn't John. We haven't been able to get our hands on John's feet yet. I'm saying that. And we had done 2 physical treatments on the foot, and the person was saying, I'm still feeling the same. So we're on assessment 3. So again, can't do the same thing, expect a different outcome. So I had a conversation with the client, and the other therapist had a conversation with the client, and I sat down and I just said to them, I said, I don't think there's physically anything wrong with this person's foot. I think this is an emotional issue, because every part of the body has an emotional attachment, and every part of the body is affected by different organs. Like your Achilles tendon can be affected by your spleen, or some other part can be affected by your liver. Like your right shoulder is your stomach, your left shoulder is your spleen. So you can often look at different areas, and then that organ would, like liver represents anger, whereas kidneys represent fear, for example. So we looked at the foot and looked at the emotional aspect, and I said to this other therapist, will you go in with this different angle? Go straight in and talk emotions about this. And that was the turning point.
Amazing.
So the person, and if we had just kept doing massage, this person would have gone, number 1, these are crap therapists. And number 2, there's something more serious wrong with my foot that they're not picking up on. But there was physically nothing wrong with the foot.
Yeah, I think that
just presented.
That kind of comes as well. You can kind of trick yourself into thinking you have something that exists until you wind out that emotion. And I think that even comes from, like, and this is the beautiful thing about what you're doing, and connecting, especially your studies. I know it's early in the day, but connecting PTSD to body-related stress and things like that, and neurological whatever is going on, like, you know, because sometimes
again, it's that someone's going
is
to
a
present
trigger.
with pain.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily a muscular pain. It's
Could be
something
emotional
else.
pain.
Yeah, and
but
it's just trapped in our
pain.
muscles.
They feel it. The person's saying, but I'm feeling pain. You still have to recognise that. You can't say, no, it's all in your head. There's nothing wrong with your foot.
Yeah.
They're still feeling. You got to recognise they actually have pain. But once you identify, well, maybe this might be connected to this, might be connected to this. And once you start connecting those dots, people normally
begins to make sense.
Yeah.
And they can relate to it.
And either they want to approach that or they don't. So some clients will kind of go, I get you, but just don't go there. I'm just, it's
They
like
don't want to
Johnny's
talk
feet.
about
I'm
it.
just not ready yet. Just, I'm not there yet. We'll keep working on it, but I'm just not there yet.
No, I don't want to talk about that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming in, ladies.
thank you.
We're gonna cut it short there this evening because anyway,
John's feet.
we have enough of John's feet. Thank you very much for coming in.
No, thank you for
I
having us.
think you're
It was
absolutely
lovely.
And
incredible.
if anyone wants to find out more about us, we're all over social media. We're on Facebook, on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, and we have the website www.bodytree.ie. So you'll get all the information on the courses, the workshops, the community clinics, who we are, what we do. And if you're even not interested in treatments, if you ever just want to pop in and say hello and sit around and talk with like-minded people, then please come along and have a chat.
And of course, go on a Wednesday morning and get yourself a lovely massage or whatever you need to do. Go swing by and say hello to the Body Tree people. They're absolutely incredible, doing incredible things. And it's these type of people that changes the world. You know, we don't all need medication. We can all just need a hug and a little bit of compassion. So God bless you, ladies. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the time.
I've been Willzee, and we're off to peel his hooves. I'll talk to you later. Go on. Tommy, say
Oh, your poor feet.
don't stop it, Tom. Don't stop it, Tom. We'd like to give a very, very special thanks to Dominic Chappell, who's always working very hard behind the scenes, and shout out to Limerick Learning Hub as well.
And my man, what's his name? Marty.
And all of you listeners out there, thank you very much.
Marty McFly.